Welcome to Story Trading VIP Pre-Market Prep. We just threw this up as a free preview last second up there on Twitter. So if you're watching us on Twitter, welcome. We crushed it yesterday on our predictions on Celsius, on Lilly. It was quite a day with very accurate calls on price targets. That was fun. Let's see if we can do it again today. If you're watching the free preview here, make sure to download our app at storytrading.com/app, and you can join us every morning at 9 a.m. So got a bunch of things to talk about. We're going to try to do this rapid fire and be done by 9:15 a.m. Let's just look at the macro real quick to see if there's anything alarming. TLT is down 1%, but guess what? I was looking at the chart this morning. Remember I talked about the 50-day moving average on TLT? Well, guess what? Where'd it go? We crossed it. Hold on. Let's go to 3-month. There you go. Cross the 50-day moving average. Okay, so even though we're down this morning at 88.72, look, as long as we stay above this 50-day and that becomes support and we have that stability that rates aren't going to keep on exploding, that's a really good environment to find stability, to find bottoms in especially risk assets, growth stocks, things like that. Select ones, right? The ones that are performing better. So that's good news on TLT. All right. We'll get to Bitcoin in a second. That and their derivative plays are going to be top picks today. Look at Bitcoin. We'll look at that chart in just a second. So, all right. So before we do that, let's just look at your earnings reports, and then we'll jump into the top picks, including Bitcoin plays. Earnings reports here, you can see there's a whole bunch of them, and I'm only going to focus in on, let's just cover three or four max. Okay. Twilio, I think out of the ones here had the best report. The Grab report wasn't bad, but Grab's like a massive market cap. It's a little deceiving. Okay. $12 billion, and they're not quite profitable yet, but Twilio, they beat on revenue. They beat on earnings. I did a re-rating calculation on their earnings, and it came to about 19%. You know how we do it at Story Trading. We take that like re-rating, and then we cross-reference it with the chart. What is around the 19% area? And guess what? It's right here around $66, $67 resistance. So theoretically, okay, we can look for maybe a re-rating to 66, 67. However, it's got to cross the 200 DMA first. It's $60.74. Caveat here on Twilio, though. I get tricked into this every quarter. I get excited because they beat on revenue and earnings every single quarter. And I have this bias, this sentiment from years ago that it's a growth company, right? So you have this growth company beating revenues and earnings. Man, this thing's going to explode. That's always my instinct, right? And then I need to be reminded, and I had to read a bunch of articles to remind myself that, whoa, they're no longer a growth company. It's so hard to wrap my head around this. They are now like a value company. Right? You can't give these guys 30, 40, 50, 60 PE. They're growing their revenue at like 5 to 10% a year. They beat every quarter because they lower expectations all the time. And they give the analysts very low expectations for revenue and earnings. So they beat it every quarter, right? But still, the year-over-year revenue growth is very small. So that's why when we're looking at this one here, the Twilio, the forward PE of 32, oh my gosh, that's cheap. It's a growth company. That's not a growth company. When I gave this to you guys, I was really excited about the 66, 67 target with the caveat that you got to break 60, 74. But at this point, I don't have a bias. I don't have, I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, it's going to break 60, 74. I'm not about that right now. Okay. So I've lowered my expectations. If it does happen to break 60, 74 and 60, 74 becomes support, then yeah, you can move to 66 to 67. But now, like when you look at the EPS, I think it was around 58 cents. You annualize that, you do the math on that. Was it 58 cents? Hold on. We're not talking about like a 20 PE or lower. And it's just shocking to believe that this is not a company that deserves high PEs because their revenue just doesn't grow. It's crazy. Yeah, 58 cents. So if you annualize that, you'll go see what that forward PE is. And it's not as cheap anymore as I first suspected. Okay, but I'm in this and from last night. And if it gets that 200 DMA, I'll probably sell. Or if it's near there, if it breaks it and starts holding it, then maybe I'll get back in for a move to 66 to 67. Okay, that's the story with Twilio. Probably the best. That's the only good ER that I'm going to talk about here. Okay, and it is in the top 5 on the morning show list, on the top pick list. We'll get to in a second. Now, a couple of other earnings reports of note. All right, I'm just going to do SMSI, Beyond, and maybe just touch on GoodRx. Okay, so let's move Beyond up here. Okay, so SMSI, I know a lot of people, it's a micro-cap company. A lot of people in our community, our legacy community, and other communities are very interested in this. I put a note up in our app. Okay, if you go to StoryTrading app, if you pull up SMSI, or you just see it on the dashboard here, this is my thoughts on this. I don't see much good here. ViewSpot, loss of they lost 2 customers this quarter. CommSuite is going to be down for Q4. They said Verizon is leaving 1 month earlier than expected, hurting the revenue and profit in Q4. AT&T, they're not really guiding that things are going to ramp up in Q3. They said in Q4 it's going to be not going to be until Q1. They've guided margins down, revenue down like 20% for Q4. So now all hope is on AT&T exploding in Q1, but my perspective, I doubt the market will reward the stock until it actually happens. All right, I had a small position in this in my retirement account. I actually sold it this morning at 99 cents. I know the fundamentalists will say, yes, if AT&T works out, it's a $5, $6, $7 stock. I get it, but it might go down to 70 cents first. And now you're getting into tax loss selling season. Now you're getting into some people doing the math, and I haven't done this, to say, all right, well, if revenue is going to be down 20%, margins are going to be down. What's that mean for their cash position in Q4? Will they need to raise money? And, you don't want to be a micro-cap company raising money. So I think there's a lot of possible worries with SMSI. So I'm avoiding that. This is not yet the inflection quarter, in my opinion. Could be wrong. Okay. Beyond. We've been talking about that this is a short for quite a while. And they missed big. It looked like to me they missed big. Let's see here. We have the revenue. Here we go. Full year 2023 revenue. They see it 335 million at the midpoint. And let me just check here. And I looked it up this morning. If anyone knows where to find that on Webull, let me know. But I haven't been able to find it. So I go to Yahoo Finance, and Yahoo Finance here, they were 366 million. So 335 misses 366, and a company with like $1 billion in debt, losing money, losing momentum. I think this thing, I've been talking about this for a while, I think it's headed towards a zero. So I actually shorted just a little bit here this morning at like $6.58 or something. I imagine it's going to be retesting those recent lows of 558 in short order. All right. GoodRx also didn't have great earnings. They missed a little bit, down 2%, now down 4%. All right, so we'll leave it at that. So I didn't like SMSI, didn't like Beyond. Twilio is okay. Now let's head into the top picks. Man, the first thing that stands out, Bitcoin is just exploding. Look at this, beautiful, man. It was consolidating so nicely here the last a couple of weeks, and it was like a cup forming, and it just broke out of this little cup, a shallow cup this morning. Let's just zoom in, maybe look at some weekly charts or something take a look at, wow, look at this beautiful breakout. Bitcoin just exploding. So I don't play Bitcoin directly. Actually, that's a lie. I do. I put BITO in my retirement account. I've had it for quite some time, actually. But since the Israel war broke out, I added more Bitcoin. I even have some Bitcoin leaps. I mean, BITO leaps in my retirement account. But all right, let's go see what kind of crypto plays might be available to play here on this theme. Let's go to our crypto list. And these are the big ones: Mara, Riot, MicroStrategy, Coin, and then a smaller cap, Iron, which is a legitimate company. Goldman Sachs has a nice price target on it. Man, Coin's been ripping since I saw it this morning. It was like up 3.5%. Now it's up 5%. All right, let's take a look at the coin chart. This is also breaking out. My. Look at the, like yesterday was like the resistance. It was right at resistance. Here we go. $89 basically. This $89 was a major resistance area. It busted out of this. Where's the top of this? These candles here are about $94. What's it now? $92.73. All right. So like 94 is roughly your next resistance on coin. And man, this is crazy. Since this Israel war, man, I've become more bullish on Bitcoin. I only own Bitcoin. I don't have any of these derivative plays or the stock plays on Coin, Riot, Mara. But I imagine, wow, look at Bitcoin right now as we're talking, a big spike up right now. So, do you jump into Coin right this second? I can't advise on that. Let's zoom into the chart a little bit more. Let's look at a 5-day chart, see what we can find here. All right. Wow. Well, look, that 89 to 90.11, and look, the low of the day in pre-market. Like if you get a pullback somehow here, maybe to this level, this pre-market, like that would be a high confidence buy, $91.90. But look, I've just never been into these Bitcoin stocks. If you are, great. I know a lot of you love Coin, Mara, Riot, and you'll probably do great. So congrats. Go for it, maybe. All right. Coin's breaking out. Bitcoin's breaking out. Everything's breaking out. Wow, this is crazy. Bitcoin's really breaking out. Is this related to the war at all? Let's see. Let me see what gold is doing. Gold is not really moving. This is Bitcoin specific right now. Okay. So anyway, take your pick. Any one of these, and they all have similar charts, by the way. Similar Mara, Riot. I looked at them early. They're very similar to Coin. Take your pick on any one of these. It may be a good idea to have some sort of Bitcoin play as a top pick today. So there you go. Bitcoin, number one pick, or any derivative play of it. Wow. Before I get to NVIDIA, I actually want to talk Celsius. I'm going to make Celsius second here because we know Celsius much better than NVIDIA. They had a great earnings report and 3-for-1 stock split happening on Monday. Continuing to see momentum here. 182. Let's just go into, am I in the daily? Hold on a second. Let's get to the 5-day chart. Okay, here we go. So one was 189. When did that happen? I don't remember that. Okay, that was yesterday morning? No, did it really get a 189? Yeah, I guess it did. Yeah, wow. That's right, it did. Right, we were on that yesterday morning. All right, so in any case, pretty clear to see our targets, right? We want to retest, 185 or so first has to be broken again. Then you have this new resistance formed at 189, then 197. With a 3-for-1 split Monday, I think all of that's possible. I think we could be trading at all-time highs Monday, Tuesday after the reverse split. So continued momentum into Monday on Celsius. Okay. Man, I'm looking at Bitcoin with some envy. I'm glad I have it in my retirement account, but wow, I wish I was playing those Coin, Mara, Riot plays right now. Okay. NVIDIA was some news out there this morning. Now, I can't really independently speak to the significance of this. You see the news article here. NVIDIA hire and reports will unveil new AI chips for China following U.S. export restrictions. Okay, this is a report from, I think, some China company. It's not directly from NVIDIA, from some China media company. Let's look at the technicals here. We're at 475 roughly in pre-market. Wow, look at that. So zoom in here. What was the top of this candle right here? 476. Okay, that's your resistance right now. 476.09. It could see a pullback there. And if you break above that, then boom, it can keep on going. What's the top of this candle right here? 481. So 476, what's the top of this candle right here? 485. So I think this is your key level. If you want to really explode further, you got to break 476.09. And maybe that's also, if you're in it now, if you grabbed it in pre-market, maybe that's where you want to sell a little bit. So NVIDIA in play here on that news. But I think I actually like Celsius better because of the recent earnings and the 3-for-1 split on Monday. Then we have Lilly. Can we get continuation in the Eli Lilly? Lilly was great yesterday. We totally slammed this thing perfectly after the news came out. In fact, it was on our radar before the news came out. In the morning, we're like, this thing's going to 6:30. Didn't even know the news. And the news came, and then we really increased our conviction that it was headed to 6:30. 52-week high here is 629.97. It almost tested it. Oh, wow. What did it get to yesterday? It got to 625.87. Okay, it looked like it. No, $4. You can't even see it. So, okay, is that it? I think it's going to test 629.97 today, tomorrow, next week. I don't know. But you know the news, right? Their injection, not just for diabetes anymore, now officially for obesity. Novo Nordisk does not have that indication yet. Lilly beat them to it. So you're going to see institutions moving money out of Novo Nordisk into Eli Lilly, even though right now they have the edge. Okay, they're going to see the revenue boost before Novo Nordisk, and opens up a whole new demographic of people who can use the drug, at least on label. It's probably being prescribed off label anyway. But Eli Lilly, I added this to my retirement account yesterday, expecting in the near term a retest of its 52-week all-time high at around $630. That's still in play. All right, so the top picks here, again, it's a Bitcoin play. It's Celsius more as a swing. Maybe NVIDIA to that level I talked about if it breaks above it. Twilio, I talked to you about the levels earlier on that, the targets we're looking for. I'm actually shorting a little bit of Beyond. Then we have POW earnings after hours. We also have ACHR earnings after hours, and I love ACHR. I actually took this opportunity. I have a love-hate relationship with ACHR. I want exposure to this. It's a very high-risk growth company. Kathy Woods loves it. Recently. Anyway, I got back into it into my retirement account. All right. I think it's small size this time because I just want a size that I could just hold on to in case they become the Tesla of the skies. All right. They had a nice report this morning about air taxis in India, a huge partnership. By 2026, you're going to have ACHR air taxis everywhere, hopefully. And then tonight, they have earnings after the close. Okay. So nice news out of ACHR this morning. POWW, we have earnings after the close. I misplayed this. I mean, I don't want to say misplayed it, but it didn't work out the way I wanted. I was expecting a big move into earnings today to $3 to $3.30, and I wanted to sell today and be all out mostly, and then get back in on the expected earnings dip. I think that's the play, but it makes it much harder because now we've already dipped from 315 to 270s, so it makes it much harder, and I got to figure out what to do. Maybe I'll only sell half or 3/4 or something. I am expecting them to miss on the top and bottom line because of the RGR miss, okay, that we had a couple weeks ago, but then I'm expecting very bullish commentary. So something very similar to what happened with Geo. Okay, Geo missed and actually never got a chance to read the conference call, but there must have been some really good guidance for Geo. Okay, you can see that. You can see how it opened down sharply lower and then exploded. I expect a very similar candle for POW. All right, I could be wrong, but that's my base case. That's what I'm expecting. I'm expecting this to go down sharply either later tonight or tomorrow morning on a miss, and then it's going to explode. Unfortunately, we didn't get the first leg, was the earnings anticipation run on POW before the earnings. So it puts me in a little bit of a pickle. I got to manage that allocation, figure out what I want to do there. But in any case, there are your top 5 picks. Any Bitcoin play, all right? Number 1, Celsius. Number 2, maybe a little of NVIDIA, maybe some Lilly, and Twilio. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 picks for you, and then you get your bill. What's that? Up 5%? No, that's just the Aska 276. All right. And with that, we're out of here. Thank you for joining from Twitter. Let's see. All right. Nice audience on Twitter, but I just do that once in a blue moon. We give you the free preview. If you'd like to join me every morning, head on over to the appstorytrading.com/app, and you'll get the pre-market show every morning at 9 a.m. And then I try to keep current as much as I can. I'm trying to get more and more active in the chat room throughout the day with targets, if anything changes, if our priority changes, right? Because we can have our top 5 picks, but then we'll kind of change it throughout the day. There you go. So try to keep you guys updated throughout the day as well. Thank you for joining. We'll see you guys later.